a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Well, my guest today was formerly from Detroit, Michigan, now living in Vancouver. He is the co-founder of Black Folk Motion Pictures and the founder of Black Folk Productions, Inc. Welcome to the show, Will Williams.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Who's
Fantastic.
with you?
This is my vice president in charge of project development and my very good friend, Steve Weller.
Very good.
Hello.
Hello, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So, Will, let's just start with Black Folk Motion Pictures. How did that come about?
Well, I was on set of Series of Unfortunate Events, and it was everybody was wearing like dirty 30s pinstripe suits, fedoras, two-tone shoes. And I was coming back from lunch, me and a friend of mine, and the guy from the crew production, he said, you guys look like two FBI agents from the 1960s going down to Louisiana to investigate a murder of a white guy. And I thought, wow, that is a fantastic story. I want to do something with that.
Yeah.
So that evolved into searching to see if I could start a production company because, well, you try to pitch something like that to these big guys, they have no time for a small man like myself. So I thought, well, you know what? Instead of having this beautiful fruit that I have found, I'm going to plant my own tree and start my own production company.
That's awesome.
And it was round about Black History Month. So I asked a lot of friends and relatives, instead of looking at Black history on television, why don't you put it on Facebook and hashtag it Black Folk Production? So now I have all this glorious Black history that I can turn into movies and television shows.
That is so awesome. Yeah. Now, were you doing that? Did you start that in Detroit or in Vancouver?
No, I started here in Vancouver.
Okay. So what brought you to Vancouver?
Well, my sister is an actor and my mother was out here. So I was living in Detroit. My father passed away and just before the towers went down, and I put him in the ground and I was out there hanging out, and she said, you know, your family is out here in Vancouver. You know, why struggle in the snow when you can come out to Vancouver? You got family here. So I thought, well, yeah, that's. So I came out here and haven't looked back.
That's awesome. I bet Vancouver's glad you did.
Yes, I think so. I hope so.
So now I don't know whether to have you talk more about, or Steve bring you in at this point. Did you want to come in at this point and talk about?
Well, basically we were roommates, as actors do, okay. And didn't really know each other. As well as an actor, I'm a writer and have been a writer for years, though I was at the time when Will came to me with this thing, I'd had writer's block for about 2 years. I had basically projects that I wanted to work at. I'd bring them out, I'd look at them, I'd stare at them, and I was blocked. I couldn't do anything, I couldn't think. And Will experienced something that happens a lot in the entertainment industry, which is he had a great idea, right. And a lot of people he talked to about it said, that's a great idea.
And that's it.
Then that's it.
That's it. And with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of people have great ideas and everybody wants to pursue their great idea. Yeah. So Will got around and spitball with some people and got a whole bunch of people to talk and really get into it. And they had a great time. And then he tried to get them interested in subsequent days, and everybody, and this isn't a knock because we all do this in the entertainment. Oh, I'd love to, but I got this thing. I'm working on this other project.
So why don't you help me do my thing? And then once we're done my thing, then we'll help you do your thing. And I thought, no, this needs to be done now. This is a story that is, it reflects what's going on in today's world. And I need to get it done because this is something that needs to be out there. Right. So I said to these guys, okay, well, listen, if you don't want to do it, I'm going to take it home and I'll get it. I'll figure it out myself. So I come home. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Steve works in a restaurant. He usually gets off around 11:30, 12. By the time he gets home, it's like 1:30. So he had just walked through the door. I knocked on his door. I said, Steve, I've got this fantastic idea. He goes, okay, let's go outside, have a smoke and talk about it. So we went out, had a couple of smokes. We spitballed back and forth. Next thing you know, he pulled out his phone and started recording like different scenarios. And 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning, he comes in, pulls out his laptop, and went straight to work. I was like, oh my God, this is coming to real. And he wrote, a bit, and then he sent it to me. He goes, is this basically what we were talking about? And I went, man, you nailed it. Yeah, that's perfect. Yes. And the next night we continued on, and night after night for what, 2 years?
Well, the first, like with most writing projects, the pilot of the series took about 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I got really productive because COVID hit. Because we did a lot of stuff and got through a lot of the painful stuff. And I hate to say this because so many people suffered, but I loved the first lockdown. I swear to you, I
got so much work done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a loner. COVID worked so well for me, and I discovered Zoom. So yes.
I mean, I hate to say this, but in some ways, in some weird way, I almost feel responsible for COVID because seriously, hear me out.
Okay.
He will tell you. December 2019. I am saying to the universe loudly and repeatedly, I need at least 120 days off in a row. I need to not have to go to the restaurant,
right.
And I need a source of income.
Yeah.
I said that repeatedly. And then in March of 2020,
COVID.
And, I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone in the world. Be careful what you wish for. Be very precise because you may not get it the way you want it.
Because who's being blamed for this, right?
Yeah. No, that's okay. Not the first time. But yeah, I mean, it was a hugely productive time because what was it? Didn't Shakespeare write The Tempest during the plague? So, it's not The Tempest, but we got so much done. You get, as a writer, you want to do things, but life constantly is saying, you need to do this, you need to do this to survive. And it was just that moment where you run out of things to procrastinate with.
Yeah. So the story that we're talking about is called Black Knights of the FBI. And it is a 90-minute episode television series. And it's about 2 Black FBI agents. Now, this is the really cool thing about this story is I sat back and I thought to myself, well, who was the very first Black FBI agents and why were they inducted? Because it was the FBI. Well, come to find out, the first 2 Black FBI agents were James Wormy Jones and James Amos. And they were inducted into the FBI in the early 1920s to investigate Marcus Garvey. So this story is in 1965, and it's James Wormy Jones Jr. and his partner, John Nathan Doucette.
John Nathan Mackenzie Doucette.
Yes.
It's important that he has a big long name because it's part of the story.
Yes. And basically the murder that they were going down to investigate is the storekeeper who basically raised John Nathan.
We call him Mac.
Mac.
And we're going to refer to him as Mac. John Nathan Mackenzie Doucette, we call him Mac. And James Wormy Jones Jr., we call him Junior.
Yes. So the guy that ends up being murdered is Isaac, who was the storekeep that Mac worked for.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was basically a surrogate father to him.
Yes. And the reason how he died was the Klansmen found out that he was teaching the Black people how to vote.
And he was trying to register
people to vote. And they sent down a couple of thugs to rough him up. They said, break an arm, send a message. Well, they broke an arm, but they broke an arm. They didn't break it at the joint. So being an old man, he died of shock and a heart attack. So the Klansmen, they thought, okay, well, this old man, he's a nobody. We'll just sweep the murder under the rug because we have connections down here in the South, and everything will be fine. Well, they didn't fail to realize that this old man
Was
who's a postmaster, which makes it federal.
Yeah. Also, the guy is like a Jewish merchant. He's a white Jewish merchant in the community, because in a lot of communities, especially immigrant communities where they move around, is Jews, Irish people would move in and then they would move out, and then Jewish people would move in and they would move out. But when they moved out, a lot of the mercantile stuff would still be of the previous people. So he's sort of the only store in the area that people can go to and not feel stigmatized.
Plus, he gave credit.
Yeah. And how many places do that anywhere?
Right.
So, yeah. And, okay, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just going to ask. So now this is all written?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And has it been produced?
Not yet.
Not yet. We're in the process of getting that put forward. We have a script agent who is working diligently to get together production companies. Yeah, there's still a couple of I's to dot and some T's to cross.
We sweated bullets putting this thing together.
Right.
I wrote 1,000 pages during the first lockdown. We went through story idea after story idea. We got to the end of all of that, and everyone we know in the movie business said, "Great, now you've done the easy part.
Yeah.
Now it's time to look for funding
Yeah.
and distribution, and it's a steep learning curve.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
So where do you go for funding?
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Where?
You will find there is no one solution.
Okay.
There is no anybody who tells you to get film funding, it's easy. You just follow these steps. No.
No, don't worry.
You can follow those steps and they may work and they may not. And if you
Right.
want your project to go ahead, you have to keep revising, keep starting over, keep going back to the beginning.
Right.
I used to hear these people at awards shows say, "Oh yeah, well, we've been working for 17 years to get this project to the screen." And I always wondered, why did it take so long? And
now we know.
Now you know.
Yeah.
And
Now we
even-
know.
Yeah, it happens even with famous people, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
recently I watched The View and Whoopi Goldberg was talking about, and I can't remember the name of the production, but apparently it took her about 8 or 10 years to get it
See?
to
Yeah.
fruition.
Exactly. Yeah. So the trick is to have something that is captivating enough so that you could get stars, A-listers interested, and then once they're interested, well then they'll say, well, listen, maybe I've got a connection that that could help you put this forward, and then they would talk to an A-list producer, and then once you get in with A-list producers, well then those are basically the money people.
Right.
They're the ones that go, okay, well, yeah, we can do this.
They can
Yeah.
attract the funding.
Exactly.
But our inspiration is actually CSI, because the guy who created CSA was actually a valet parking lot attendant in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
For real. And he shopped the script around. He had this great idea, forensic science, CSI, and nobody was buying it. And then finally, when it landed in front of an actor named William Peterson, who was in a lot of movies like in the 90s and early 2000s, To Live and Die in LA and stuff like that. It landed on his desk, and he was interested in headlining the show. So the moment you can attach an actor's name to a project, it takes on some extra life.
Right.
You can then go to people and say, well, William Peterson is interested, and people go,
Oh, well, if he's interested, well then, it's got to be a good film.
Yes.
So I'm in.
The problem becomes, unless you get that, you go to an actor and the actor says, that's great. What studio is attached? Oh, we're still looking at studios.
Right.
So
Get back to
when
me
you
when you
get
get
to
the
studio,
studio.
let me know. So
Yeah.
you go to the studios and the studio goes, what funding have you raised? Well, we haven't got any yet. We're looking for that. It's like, okay, well, come to us when you get to funding. And then you go to funding people and they go, great. Do you have a star? and
It's the vicious circle.
it can just go round and round and round. And if there's anybody out there doing like wanting to get involved in film and they have people who want to help them, I have a really important point. Always say yes to the people who tell you their motives.
Yeah.
Our selling agent, lovely woman, has been moving this project ahead. She is taking a percentage of what she raises. And many actor friends who don't know this part of the business says, well, why are you giving her this big percentage? You should just let her to do it for a pay or something like that. Our experience has been that people who do it because say to us, I want to do this because I want to advance my career.
Yeah.
I want to do this because I want to make money. Those are the people you want. The
Right.
people you definitely do not want are the people, and this may seem counterintuitive, the people who say, oh no, I just doing it because I support you and I love
It's
your
a labor of
project."
love. It's beautiful.
No.
I'll work for free. Just
Stay away from those people. God bless their little cotton socks, but they will drag you down like a
oh my
heavy
goodness.
lead weight. We
Right.
have
You know?
had people enter this project, make demands, ask for contracts, demand meetings,
Yeah, yeah.
provide absolutely nothing, and then leave in a snit because
Yeah.
a thing they asked weren't met.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
we had a
yeah,
gentleman
yeah.
who made us sign contracts, who put us in meetings,
Yeah.
and who told us all about the things he was going to do,
Yeah.
did nothing,
Nothing.
and then got angry at us and walked away from the project.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never been treated like this before.
Because we wouldn't give them a cash advance.
Yes.
Ah, where's
Yeah,
So
that?
what have you done?
Yeah,
done
yeah.
What have you
nothing.
done? You haven't done anything. You
Right.
talked. No, I'm sorry, no.
These
Yeah,
are the
bring
things
something
like
to the table first, right?
Right? Seriously, yeah. So the agent that we have now, we made it perfectly clear. You show us first. You would like the state of Kansas. You show me.
Yeah.
Show me, and you'll get paid.
Yep.
And she is like updating, and I'm like, oh my God. All right, okay, all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I can't
Yeah.
say that enough because, sometimes these people are doing it for altruistic reasons,
Sure.
and because they're not getting paid, they're not, oh yeah, I'll get around to doing that thing I said I was going to do to you after I've done these more important things,
Mhm.
and I'd rather them not do it at all than promise and not deliver. And
Exactly.
that's the problem starting out, is that you're going to get a lot of well-meaning people
Right.
who it's just not a priority. They're doing it for you for free, and they're thinking, well, I'm doing it for free. I'll do it when I'm ready and when I have time. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that-
it's not. It doesn't work like that. I'm
that's
sorry.
not the way it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And then there are other people who you find do things and say they're doing it for altruistic reasons, and then you find out that it might be not
Hmm.
quite so altruistic. They do want something that they're not telling you about. I don't want to get more specific than that.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I kind of know what you mean because I've worked with volunteers before, and
Oh,
like,
so you know.
yeah, if you're going to
Yeah.
volunteer for something, you put your guts into it, or don't volunteer. It's simple as that.
Exactly.
right?
Thank you. Right. Exactly. So it's been a learning curve. Sometimes I say to myself, well, oh my goodness, what did I do? But then in the long run, once we get this under our belts and we know the ropes,
Right.
we have so many stories that we can tell. I've been kicking around the idea of, if things keep on going, positive like this, I see a Black History Channel.
Nice. So that's so neat,
know?
right? It's so
Yeah.
needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, because all these people have sent in all this rich Black history. Oh my God, it's just like, for instance, the next story that we're going to be doing after this one would be Escape to Freedom, Children's Ghost Story, which is a story about Robert Smalls.
Okay.
We're going to do another one, Escape to Africaville, which is Nova Scotia. That's what Nova Scotia was before Nova
Yes,
Scotia
yes,
was called
yeah.
Africaville.
I'm from down east. So yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, so all with some really rich stories, So
The other thing we have in the can is a feature script about Eugene Bullard,
Yes.
who was basically he was Humphrey Bogart and John Wayne rolled into one for real.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
yes, so he was a descendant of Haitian immigrants to the United States. His father, I think, had been a slave and had been freed.
Mhm.
And basically his family home was being threatened by Klansmen. So he left the United States and went to France.
Stole away on a freighter.
Yeah. So he stole away and went to anyway, he thought he was going to France.
Yeah, halfway through they found out that he was a stowaway, and the captain threatened to throw him overboard. He said, "Listen, I'll shovel coal. Just don't throw me overboard."
Hmm.
So they sent him down to the furnace, and the two guys that were shoveling coal were German, and they taught him German. Continue.
Yes. So this is in 1910, and he stows away on this freighter. He actually ends up in England. He wants to go to France because his family, being from Haiti, they spoke French. He grew up speaking it, and his father said that, you'd be treated better in France than you would be in the United States at that time, which is true at the time.
Right.
So he goes over, he ends up in England. He got to make his living somehow. He becomes a boxer.
Golden gloves.
Yeah. Then he goes over to France and he starts establishing a career there just in time for the beginning of World War I.
Yeah.
He enlists in the French army and fights in World War I. After the war, he tries to go back to boxing, but he's getting on and his body just can't do it. Also, because the injuries he had in the war. In World War I, he gets shot in the leg and loses a fairly large chunk of his leg in basically the bloodiest battle of World War I for France, the Battle of Verdun.
Right.
So his soldier says, "Great, you got your war wound, you can go home." He's going, no, I'm going to keep fighting. He says, "What are you going to do? You can't fight in the infantry." He wagers one of his army buddies that he, a Black American, is going to train to be a fighter pilot in the French Air Force.
Yeah.
And he wins the bet.
He wins the bet.
And he becomes a fighter pilot. Like, he was not the first Black fighter pilot, but he was the first Black American fighter pilot.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating,
Oh yeah,
it is.
Where between the wars, he opens up a jazz club because of his health things. He can't do that anymore. He learns to play jazz drums. He becomes a jazz musician.
Yeah.
He buys a club.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're in Casablanca.
Yeah.
In Paris, but it's in Paris, and he knows everybody. He knows Louis Armstrong.
Yes, they all came and sang at his club.
Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
For real.
Yes. This was the French Connection. Actually, you know what? There's you look in on YouTube, Eugene Bullard, and he.
Yes, I saw something because what you're talking about rang a bell.
Yes, he was an elevator operator at One Rockefeller Center, and he was on the elevator doing his job. The host of the Tonight Show asked him about one of the medals that he had from World War I, and he said, "That's a fantastic story. Will you tell it to my viewers on air?" He said, "Well, I'm working right now." He says, "Well, what are you doing on your lunch break?" And on YouTube, you see him on the couch
Today Show.
On the Today Show in his elevator operator uniform, telling the story of his life. Now, this is the story that will be shown at the end of our movie, which is called Eugene Bullard, America's Soldier, the best soldier,
America never had. Never had.
Yeah.
As I learn more, like I'm learning about First Nations background, and I'm also, I'm always interested in learning about the Black history and stuff, because my perspective, obviously, growing up, has all been English perspective, white people, not English, but white people's perspective, right?
Yes.
So it's so fascinating to me to learn all of this history that was just hidden, basically hidden.
Yes. Yes.
So it's beautiful to hear all this.
The view we have of history is very skewed by the people who wrote it at the time.
Absolutely.
So our motto is to bring truth to light.
Nice.
That's what we do here at Black Folk Productions, Black Folk Motion Pictures.
You look at all those Confederate statues in the South,
Yeah.
and all of these white people saying, well, this is our cultural heritage. We were celebrating these people at the time. Things have changed, but we were celebrating them at the time. But they didn't build the statues at the time. That's part of the history that people need to understand. The war ended in 1865 and the South lost.
Right.
Nobody built anything. It wasn't until like in the early 1900s, 40, 50 years later, that white people started to make these statues to say to Black people, I'm going to put you in your place. You don't behave, these people are going to come back.
Jim Crow.
Yeah. And it was part of Jim Crow. Absolutely. It was part of that. And that kind of historical context. Black Knights of the FBI is a fictional story told against the backdrop of real events.
Yes.
We bring in a couple of well-known people, but we're trying not to have Martin Luther King appear like an actor portray that. People are experiencing the civil rights movement the way most people did.
Yes.
They saw it on the news,
Yes.
but how it directly affected their lives and how what they saw, heard, and felt made them want to change their lives.
Yes.
I'm so excited about this.
It's going to be it's a fantastic series. I personally, I can't wait to get to the next step so that we can get it out there, because I know the public is going to love it.
Yeah.
This is okay. We had a meeting with
Do we want to say this on?
Well, a very influential
executive producer. A very influential executive producer. We did the actual Hollywood thing where you're in the corner penthouse office.
Yeah.
Making the pitch.
Okay.
And halfway through our pitch, a knock comes to the door, and his assistant said, "Mr.
We're doing a
meeting next door here that you're going to have to be a part of." He said, "Okay, I'll be right there." 45 minutes later,
she knocks on the door again.
And said, "Mr. the meeting." He said, "Yeah, I'll be right there." 20 minutes after, he said to us, "This is an award-winning project with the right principles."
Right. Oh my God.
So we're like, oh my God.
We've had a lot of people say, because Will has the idea and he comes up with that, and between the two of us, we turn it into a form on a page that movie people can understand and relate to. So we've gone through all of that as the process goes along. He's the ideas. He's the race car driver. I'm the mechanic.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically, we make this. And I wanted to say, because I feel this a little bit all the time, is that Black stories should be told by Black people.
Yes, absolutely. Well, of course.
Will came to me with this, and I if he had gotten a Black writer to work on this, you'd be talking to that person.
Right.
But everybody has their project. Everybody has their idea. Everybody thinks their one is the one that's going to hit. People want to work on their own stuff. Will came to me and gave me a gift, and he asked me to help him tell a story.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And he does it so well.
That's so nice.
I'm here to
so
do.
Awesome to hear. You know, we're almost out of time. You're going to have to come back on, because I want to know everything. Sorry.
That's so sweet. I'd love to.
Oh, that'd
Love
be great. Yeah.
We'd love to.
Yeah, thank you. Because I just got a notice from Zoa is going to shut us down, and not Zoom Rad is going to shut us down.
Yes.
You know, and also I have another interview. So yeah, will you come back on?
Yes, I certainly.
Okay.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna let me just sign off with the audience there for just a second.
Okay.
Got her.
So thank you everybody for watching this show. So you've been listening to Will Williams and Steve. I forgot
Steve Weller.
Steve Weller. My apologies, Steve. I'm so
All
bad.
good.
Remember
All good.
names. I hope for the audience, I really hope that you pay attention to this interview. It's really awesome. And it doesn't matter whether you're Black or white or whatever, it's so
Racism
important.
is a white issue.
And
We're the ones doing it. We're the ones who need to look out for it.
we have to we're the ones that need to make the difference, right?
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So thank you, everybody, and take care. And I'll see you all again. And peace out, folks.
Peace out.
Peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.